now to Washington because Ahmad Shah Mohibi is the president of Rise to Peace and the former State and Defense Advisor in Afghanistan. Ahmad, what is your reaction to these preliminary election results?
Well, the elections, the 2019 protest changed the fate of election, and it's supposed to happen next year, but it brought it forward to satisfy the protesters in Iraq over the rampant corruption and poor services. And do
you think it will? Do you think it will?
Well, according to my source who was in Iraq, told me that it was a complete and major fraud. But we were talking about a country with 18 years of election age after a dictatorship regime of Saddam Hussein. So we're looking at a fraud everywhere. But what is the best? I think I'm looking at this Iraq, similar to Afghanistan, where in major elections, fraudulent vote has distanced people from the government. So we're looking at a similar situation in Iraq. As we are speaking right now, there are deals behind the closed doors taking place between the parties. We are talking about various different parties in Iraq. We talk about Shia groups that are aligned with Iran, and those Shia groups that has been towards Iraqis. We have Masoud Barzanis, we have the Kurdish, we have the various different Sunni and Kurdish groups that each would like to rule the country. But the problem, just like Afghanistan, they all want to rule. One thing that has happened is the biggest corruption since 2003 has created and failed and created this fragile state. So this was not the best election. It has the lowest turnout. We're talking about 41% of Iraqis voted compared to 44 in 2018. And a country of 40 million people, only 25 million registered to vote. Majority of them, they say we don't want to vote for, quote, killers, corrupt, and politicians who wants to enrich themselves, not the people. So given that circumstance, it's really hard.
So if this vote was held in response to those protests we saw in 2019 demanding change, if reform is what's needed and an overhaul of the political system, how can that be achieved?
I think the biggest one is the political compromise among the political leaders of Iraqi government. We are talking about inclusiveness in the government and also services to the people. As long as there is no inclusiveness in Iraq, there will be no proper services to the people, because the leaders are so tight in fighting each other that they forget about the poor, they forget about the lower class and the middle class that are going down and shrinking. So it's a heightened status for those people. I think the compromise and making sure the services are being to the people, and to do that, they have to be able to have a fair and free, not fraudulent election. And we're looking at the deals. I think let's see what the deal is going to come out of between these political parties. Any deal is going to change the fate of the elections and the fate of the Iraqi people.
I mean, would you expect anything to change dramatically as a result of this election result, either domestically or with Iraq standing in the Middle East?
I do not think so. But if we look at the historical past or political trajectory of Iraq, we're looking into Iraq getting worse if these toxic political rivalries and leadership continues. But Iraq plays an important role. It's a rich country with oil, whilst people suffering from corruption. Iraq plays a big role in uniting various countries in the Middle East, and that played a big role in pre-2003 and 2001. So I think we're looking not at a big shift right now, but we're looking another continuation of the previous regime with same politicians, and we could expect more protests happening, because a lot of people want to boycott election, but many are supporting to avoid such violence in Iraq.
Okay, Ahmad Shah Mohibi, president of Rise to Peace. Thanks for joining us on the